When I was a kid, I was given I was listening to a lot of contemporary music. I was writing a lot of music too young. It sort of got burned out too quickly. And one of my good friends had given me a record of Iannis's Oresteia and said, oh, you think you like this other stuff? Listen to this. This will change your life. And indeed, I put it on and it changed my life. But for me, this was not contemporary music. For me, this was universal music. It was timeless. It was absolutely mind-boggling and really made me reconsider the fundamentals of music from A to Z. The fact that it was the Oresteia and based on these ancient Greek texts, I almost kind of assumed that he was an ancient Greek or somebody who was doing this. And Xenakis, it's Greek, Oresteia, it's Greek. Fine. And I go on with my life. This was before internet, even though I know I look young enough to have been born with internet. And continued doing my things and just carried this record with me, old LP, wherever I went. And it's so worn out now that it could never be played again, I think. And then I was in Paris to actually work with Nadia Boulanger, who is a pretty famous tyrant for teaching young aspiring composers. And walking down the street one day or in the metro, I see this big sign saying, meet the composer, Iannis Xenakis, at the Théâtre de la Ville, in one of the major halls. And I nearly had a heart attack. I was like, how did this happen? He was dead. He's been dead for centuries, And so obviously I got tickets to this concert. I get to Théâtre de la Ville. There is Xenakis. He doesn't meet the composer, blah, 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 this and that. And we literally, going into the hall, bumped into each other and started talking, just very quickly like that. And I told him in 3 sentences, I'm working with Nadia Boulanger, she's a tyrant. I'm sitting in on Messiaen's class, it's not what I'm looking for. And all this time, he's scribbling on a little piece of paper saying, Wednesday, 5 o'clock, this address, come and see me. And so I show up, Wednesday, 5 o'clock at this address. And there I walk into the room, and there's Carrie Lovelace, plus a few other people. And it was his class that he was giving at the Charles Michel sort of campus of the University of Paris, one which is actually linked to the Sorbonne. And that's, just started sitting in on that class, constantly insisting on bringing music notebooks with me, and never wrote a note of music. And it was just filled with mathematical formulas, many of which went flying way over my head. But it was the most inspiring experience I ever had in my life because it was the most thought-provoking. He made us think outside of the box constantly, almost to the point where you didn't know where the box was anymore.
It was in kind of like a standard classroom, with a little desks, like student desks, and like a blackboard. And Xenakis was Xenakis was a kind of interesting looking man, to say the least, because he was a great Greek resistance fighter, and he had sustained a huge, grave injury while fighting, so half of his face was shot off. So half of his face was just sort of crumpled, and he was missing one eye, and then, so half of his face was crumpled, he was missing one eye, and at the same time, he had that kind of, rumpled French intellectual look, so he was very handsome at the same way, but if he looked one way, he seemed like he was looking into the abyss, and the other way he looked like he was just kind of this really kind of charismatic, interesting man. And so he would write on the board. He didn't really talk about his music. He would really talk about these formulas through which, he at that time was putting together his music. I mean, I think his innovation was that he found other means to organize sound besides traditional, harmony and counterpoint. So he used different mathematical formulas as a way to shape sound, which made him seem like super brainy. But in a lot of ways, when you really got into what he was trying to do, he was really, he was mimicking nature in a funny way with these mathematical formulas, just the way that, let's say, Pythagoras, when he designed the scale, originally he based it on the vibration of a string, dividing it into different sections, which is mathematical, and yet it's very harmonious to our ears. So in a funny way, Xenakis was using things like probability theory, which is, really is an observation of nature to organize sound. So what he was doing was really quite romantic, but when you see somebody like writing algorithms on a blackboard, it seems like, whoa, what's this? It was very stimulating, this class, because something about being in it, watching him just work and think, I would come back with a lot of ideas, particularly about using visuals as a way to shape sound. So I did a lot of, I used kind of drawing and that sort of graphic thing. At the time I was experimenting with that as a means to shape sound, or to, like a non-traditional mode to organize a composition.